Faye Ponce. I'm Eliza Capistrano, and we're going to talk about gap year and its advantages. In the Philippines, education is held in very high regard. All parents strive to give their children complete education because they believe this is what will give them a better future. Students are expected to attend 6 years of primary school, 4 years of junior high school, and 2 years of senior high school. An overwhelming 12 years of their lives spent in constant schooling, and this doesn't even include college yet. There is the existence of summer break, a time where students can finally have a break from academics. However, it's only for 2 months. In between spending time with family, friends, going through the process of clearance and enrollment, and going through work either for financial purposes or for the experience, is it truly enough?
I know, right? There are so many things that students can manage to experience because school takes up majority of time. Recently, however, more people are taking up gap year as a solution to this. But what is gap year? Gap year is the act of students taking a break from their academics that is commonly done after graduating from high school and before entering college, that runs down from a period of months to a year or more than a year. We are going to talk about some of the reasons why people should consider taking a gap year. But before that, let us first clear up a few misconceptions. People tend to frown upon the idea of gap year, and even parents discourage their children from taking one for the following reasons. First, it is believed that students who take gap year will fall behind their studies. Second, people believe that gap year will make students be unwilling to return to school after getting to have a taste of the real world. Lastly, it is believed that gap year is expensive. First of all, for the misconception that students who take gap year will get left behind in their studies. Learning is limitless. It is not confined in the grounds of the school nor in the setting of a classroom. It all depends in the hands of the person whether they get behind in their studies or not. They even have the capability and chance to do some self-studying to ensure that they do not get left behind others. In fact, in some studies, it is found that people or students who take gap year had higher grades than those who did not. Also, there's so many things that a student can learn in the real world that the school will not be able to provide and will not be able to explain thoroughly. Having a gap year gives a person more time to have real-time experience, like learning how to get a job, learn how to pay tax, learn how to drive. Although we are not saying that people don't need school, we are just simply stating that taking a break from school doesn't automatically mean that the student will forget the skills that they learned from there. We may actually even develop their existing skills and develop new ones. Secondly, the misconception that gap year will make students be unwilling to go back to their school. According to American Gap Association, 90% of students who had taken gap year went back to school a year after. So this just goes to show that gap year doesn't make a student lazy just because they had the taste of the real world out there. In fact, it is found in some studies again that students who had taken gap year had lower dropout rate and a higher satisfaction level than their counterparts when they come back to school. Lastly, the misconception that gap year is expensive. This depends on the preference of the person. When taking a gap year, a person is given a choice whether to plan their schedule on their own or join gap year programs. Gap year programs put together a schedule wherein a person is given a local and international opportunities for a computed cost. For example, when applying for a certain program, may include a package deal of going to another country for an internship, immersion, career talks, etc. Personally planning for your own schedule allows a person to control how much they spend. Joining gap year programs allows a person to choose from various plans offered at different price ranges. Where there are expensive programs because of their high-end quality, there are also cheaper alternatives that still provide great opportunities and new possibilities. Now that we've cleared up some misconceptions, let's now go to the advantages.
The let me tell you all the advantages of taking a gap year. First of all, this provides students with enough time to accomplish a few things they believe they won't be able to do so in the future. These people may come to realize that in between attending college, pursuing their master's, and eventually going off to work, they won't be able to check a few things off their bucket list. Some of these things may include learning even different languages, traveling and meeting new people, and discovering new crafts and skills. Accomplishing these things aren't only for personal satisfaction, but also helps them develop into more well-rounded individuals. This also eases their way into acquiring a job. This also helps them discover a few things about themselves and learn more about their interests, so deciding on a career path in the future will be much more easier. After all, a lot of students enter college without really knowing which direction they're gonna go into, and eventually end up wasting a lot of money and time when they decide to shift courses.
This becomes particularly useful when writing up your resume. The more skills and experience you have, the more likely you are to stand out and make a good impression.
Another advantage is that students are finally able to take a rest away from the academic burnout. After years of constant schooling, it's no wonder that students feel emotionally and physically exhausted from the amount of work they have to do in school. Some of the factors included here are the lack of a proper sleeping pattern, unhealthy eating habits, and even neglecting time spent with their family and friends. However, through the gap year program, students are once more able to recuperate and be at their best to ensure good quality work. In fact, according to the American Gap Association, students who attend gap year programs are more likely to have a higher GPA than those who attend college straight away. Even some universities encourage going through a gap year before going to college, such as Harvard and Princeton, to name a few. This just goes to show that attending a gap year program does not have negative repercussions to students' academic life, but in fact enhances it.
True enough, with reasons like this, it's no wonder why people are easily persuaded into taking a gap year. In fact, some countries even require their students to take one, such as Denmark, Italy, and Yemen, to name a few.
To recap, here are things that gap year affords their students that summer break fails to do so. First of all, it does not allow their students to fall behind academically, but even manages to boost their performance. Second of all, it gives them time to accomplish a few things they won't be able to do so in the future. And lastly, it allows them to heal emotionally and physically from the exhaustion brought about by school. For all these reasons, maybe you should start considering taking up a gap year.